Hey neighbor, it's February and Evan and I are in the greenhouse planting tomatoes and some other things. February is a huge month for seed starting for us here in the South. We're in 9A and I always plant my tomatoes mid-February. We've got some unique tomatoes we're going to plant today. Evan picked out a couple of 3 varieties and so did I, and we're going to talk about those. But the main thing is we want to talk about the timing of when to start your plants. For us in 9A, middle of February is when we first start our tomatoes and our peppers. Now some of the peppers you can start a little bit earlier than that. Hot peppers are notorious for taking a long time. Sweet peppers come up pretty quick. Evan planted some jalapenos today and they popped pretty good, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and relative to the bells.
Yeah, and so they're growing pretty good, and we got a new one we're growing this year that we just planted. Pronounce that for me.
The Rajah Cayenne.
Yep. This right here is a new cayenne pepper that I seen in Fort Myers at trials last year, and I was blown away. This thing right here has got nice, consistent, about 5-inch long cayenne peppers. And we love cayenne peppers because we like to make pepper sauce out of them.
Yeah, we do.
But we planted 25 of them. Are we gonna need 25?
No, definitely not.
I'm gonna plant a few of those in little containers, root pouches, and grow them out, and we'll give them away. But 1 or 2 peppers, I can tell you, of those cayennes is all a guy needs because those things load up. It's a nice, compact plant. And that particular one right there, the yield on it was, oh man, it was off the chain. Plus it's got good disease resistance. So we're excited about the, I don't plant cayennes every year.
Well, I figured they're a hot pepper, right? So,
yeah, and I mean, we use them for pepper sauce, but that's about it.
You prefer more sweet peppers?
I do.
Yeah.
But I do like pepper sauce. I like to put pepper sauce on my mustard and collard greens.
Yeah, I'll eat it with some cabbage too.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never
pretty
eaten
good
it
on
with
cabbage. Yeah.
So I will make some of that and keep it in the refrigerator, but it just don't take a lot of cayenne pepper.
Not at all.
But they are pretty to grow. All right, folks, we're going to get into starting tomatoes. My workhorse for tomatoes is the Hossinator. The Hossinator is the one I think if you live in the South or anywhere close to the South, you should be planting Hossinator as your workhorse variety. Now, when I say a workhorse variety, I'm talking about one I know I'm going to make, one I know is going to be productive.
Highly productive.
And you know you've heard me talk about Hossinator.
I have.
I love Hossinator?
Oh, can't get enough of it.
Why do I think Hossinator is the perfect tomato? This is the reason why. It's got good disease resistance and it has tomato spotted wilt virus resistance, which we got to have to grow tomatoes here.
Very important.
And then it's a determinate type, so the plant doesn't get out of whack on us. It doesn't get crazy.
It reaches a point, puts its fruit
about this high, and she's going to load up. The Hossinator just got worlds of foliage on there, so it protects that fruit from sun scald. It's a big tomato. Man, it's a big tomato, which everybody loves big tomatoes, and it tastes good. It's almost the perfect tomato, but there's no such thing as a perfect tomato.
Is there?
No. If Hossinator's got one fault, and this is it, on the bottom of the tomato, down at the very bottom, you know what they call that? We call that the blossom scar. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
On the, not the top part,
exactly what you're talking
but the bottom part. The Hossinator is known to have a little bit larger blossom scar than the other varieties, and if there's any criticism of the tomatoes, that blossom scar can get a little big on it. So, and that's simply for the fact how big of a tomato it is, and it grows so quick.
So is there anything you can do to manage that?
Not really. You can not prune your Hossinators at all, which I don't, and you can get the size down just a little bit so they don't scar quite so bad. But if you prune those Hossinators up to the 3rd or 4th leader on the bottom, like some people do, you're going to grow a huge tomato, and it may have a little bit more of that blossom scar than other varieties have.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you know, that's really the only downside to the Hossinator. We always like to plant something strange and weird and different, don't we? I know I always do.
Me too.
So today we're planting some of those weird tomato plants that we don't grow every year, or maybe we do grow every year, and just kind of add a little splash to a garden. And I'm going to let you go ahead and tell everybody what you decided and why you decided that.
All right, so the first one I picked out was the Lemon Boy Hybrid Plus F2. I picked this out because I was looking, I really am obsessed with these yellow tomatoes, and I wanted something that was a good slicer and something that had a really profound taste. And so this is what I picked out first.
Let's talk about that just a minute. Did you know that that tomato right there has won our blindfold tomato taste test more than any other variety?
I did not.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. We have picked that one in a blindfold test more than any other variety. Now the lemon boy, a yellow tomato.
Yep.
Most time our mind plays tricks with us and tells us it can't be a good tomato because it's yellow.
Yeah.
But it's off the chain, man.
Yeah, I bet it.
Taste-wise.
I mean, the name just kind of, it caught me.
It's an indeterminate.
Yep.
Now, the breeder just redid that a couple years ago. And you see the plus on there?
Yeah, yeah.
What they did is they added more disease resistance. And it's got the same great flavor that it's always had. But now the Lemon Boy Plus has tomato spotted wilt virus resistance.
Which is ideal.
Which is ideal for us here in the South.
Gotta have it.
Yep. So that is a great tomato you pick right there. It is an indeterminate.
Okay.
So we got to, you're going to have to stake it up and tread a little bit. And you may take a little bit more love.
Yeah.
But as far as taste, as far as easy to grow, the Lemon Boy is a great choice.
All right. Next, I chose the Wild Boar Solar Flare tomato. Wanted to get a good beefsteak in there too. It's got great taste as well. Takes about the same amount of time to finish. I thought it'd be perfect. The only downside I saw to this was that it's prone to cracking a lot if you over or underwater it. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that variety right there, and it's got those pretty streaks on there. So it is a pretty tomato.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It come out of Brad Yates' breeding program out of California.
Okay.
And he does a wonderful job. But it's one of those tomatoes that tastes really good, but it's a little finicky to grow.
Okay.
So it's not going to be what we consider a workhorse here in the South because it don't have that complete disease package. But if you get 3 or 4 tomatoes off from that, you're going to be proud you planted it because it's got wonderful, wonderful flavor to it. It's one of those softer tomatoes when it gets ripe. It doesn't hold up really good, but the flavor's off the chain.
Yeah, I'm ready to taste it. I'm very ready to taste that. And lastly, I chose a cherry. I chose the sun sugar tomato. I guess this is what you'd say the golden standard for your cherries.
Yeah, so every tomato breeder that's breeding a cherry tomato, he looks at it and he puts his varieties up against sun sugar to see how the taste goes. Okay. Everything is graded in the industry against sun sugar. Okay. Sun sugar is an old variety, been around for a long time, but it is the best tasting tomato that's ever been as far as cherry goes. Okay. It's got its issues. It cracks pretty bad.
It does crack pretty bad.
It does crack pretty bad. And there's some newer varieties out there that doesn't crack as bad that supposedly taste as good. Esperino, we got one.
Yes.
We got Esperino, which is a newer variety that's a yellow cherry that doesn't crack and it's supposed to have just as high a sugar content as the sun sugar. Okay. But I don't care what gardener you talk to, if he's been gardening for a very long length of time, he's going to rave about that sun sugar. That sun sugar, man. Man, it's just... the flavor. It just pops. Another one of those yellow tomatoes.
Yep. High yielding.
High yielding. Yep. It doesn't have a lot of disease resistance. Okay. But I've never had much problem growing. Okay. And it don't take but 1 or 2 plants of those. It's going to yield like crazy. Yep. They never make it to the house. Never. We always eat them in the garden.
Just eat them in the garden.
Eat them in the garden. Yep. All right, so here's a couple for me, folks. This is a new one right here, Cherokee Carbon. This is a new one for us this year. Now, this is a hybrid variety. This is what they call one of those new heirloom marriage types.
Never heard of that.
Really? So what they did is they took old Cherokee Purple, which is an old variety, and they bred it with Carbon. Carbon's a newer variety that has disease resistance. Okay. So they took those two and they bred them together. And what they do is they get a good heirloom quality tomato. Okay. But yet we got good disease resistance and plus good productivity on that tomato. So we got the best of both worlds. It's a new thing that started about 4 or 5 years ago. There's a handful of varieties out there of the heirloom marriage and Cherokee Carbon is one of them. See, it has kind of that purpling.
Yeah, I see the purpling from the Cherokee Purple.
I have not grown it before, but it's got pretty rave reviews about the taste. Yeah. But we know it's going to be easy to grow.
Yeah, it should be.
So I'm excited about that one there. Now this one right here.
Love the color on that
thing. Berkeley Tie Die. Beautiful. This is one we could be. This is our 3rd year growing this one. This one right here is real similar to that tomato that you picked, the Wild Boar. Yes. Yeah. But it's a little different. It has that green streaking inside of it there. It's kind of a finicky one to grow. Yeah. Flavors. Boom.
Through the roof.
Through the roof, baby. Yeah. This thing is good. It's delicious to eat. It's not going to make a lot.
Okay.
We get a handful of tomatoes off this right here, we're going to be proud.
So it's a determinant?
No,
it's an indeterminate. It just still doesn't.
Indeterminate.
Okay.
It's finicky.
Okay.
Doesn't have a lot of disease resistance. We love growing these. It's not my workhorse. I don't grow a lot of them. I grow 2 or 3 of them.
Okay.
Maybe put them in a raised bed so I can kind of keep them. I can baby these a little bit more than some of the rest of them I got too.
Definitely.
Because they're not going to have the foliage on there the Hossinator's got. But this is one of those you got to grow because just simply the flavor of it. All right, so we're going to start planting these things. Let's put our little indentions in there. And we're going to talk about plant tomatoes for us. Okay, 9A plant tomatoes, middle of February. If you're in zone 8, I'm going to start on this end.
Okay.
I still think middle of February is time for you to plant your tomatoes, okay? Takes 6 weeks. Now, I consider myself a pretty good plant grower. I don't think you're going to grow a tomato plant less than 6 weeks. I think that's about as good as you can do. So we figure on that right there. So we plant the middle of February. That'll put these plants ready 1st of April.
Okay.
And that's normally a good time to plant them. We'll be warmed up by then. It'll be time to get them into the ground. Peppers, same thing. You can plant them a little bit before. Now, if you've not planted your tomatoes and your peppers yet, don't worry. You still got time. I'm just telling you the ideal time to do it is to start them then. You can plant them a little later than this and have you a little later crop there. This Berkeley Tie Die don't have a 10 season there, so I got to be really careful. All right, watermelons. I love to grow watermelons every year. Last year, I planted Sweetie Pie, which is a new variety that we are carrying for this year. Now, Sweetie Pie is that small icebox type seeded red watermelon. It's known for its exceptional flavor. It is a seeded variety. It's easy to grow, got decent disease resistance, but it's just a good watermelon that's kind of small, so you can put it in the refrigerator. Really, really sweet. I planted yellow dog before, and Sweetie Pie and the yellow dog kind of remind me one another as far as size goes. Yellow dog's a yellow one.
Yellow dog, okay.
But both of those are seeded varieties there.
How well did they perform for you?
They did really good.
Yeah?
They did. A little small. You know, if you want to put it in the refrigerator, it's ideal size from that. I could probably eat 2 of them one sitting, but I love watermelon.
Yeah.
Let's talk about okra. I got where I transplant okra into my my greenhouse here, and grow it out and transplant it. I don't like to put okra in the soil, my plants, until about the middle of April, because okra just doesn't like cool soils.
No, it doesn't.
It'll stun up on you, so you need to make sure your soils are nice and warm. So if I'm gonna plant okra, I'm gonna wait probably about to the end of February, 1st of March to plant it. Same thing, about 6 weeks to grow it out. Then I got it ready probably about the middle of April to put it out and transplant it. If I seed my okra and I got cool soils in my garden, it's just not gonna come up. So transplanting that first crop works extremely well for me. Eggplants, we're gonna follow the same schedule with eggplants as we do our peppers. Plant them right now.
Okay.
Grow them out in 6 weeks. We put them in the ground.
So we need to do transplants?
Yeah, we need to do the eggplants as well. Most of our other things, we're going to direct seed in the garden. I can't think of anything. Got some flowers and stuff planted.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to grow some of your cool season crops still yet, like cabbage, and I got some cabbage over there we fixing to plant. It's a little late, but you can still plant some broccoli and cauliflower and things like that right now and have it come off for a late spring crop. Still get in there. Now, let's talk about our friends in zones 6 and 7. When would you plant your tomatoes, and if you live in those zones? 7, I think you're probably going to be somewhere in the middle of March, somewhere in there when you need to plant your tomatoes, maybe the 1st of March. And zone 6, you're probably going to be middle of March, even 1st of April. My daughter lives in zone 6, and she says you don't want to put anything out there in the garden until after Mother's Day. So if you was to plant your tomatoes in the 1st of April, that would put your tomato plants ready around the middle of May, which I think would be okay. So if you live in zone 6, plant your peppers and tomatoes 1st of April. Zone 7, I think mid-March, somewhere in there. But if you live anywhere close to where we live, get them in right now and get it rocking and rolling. Seed potatoes.
We need to start getting those in the ground too, don't we?
We need to get those in the ground. Here we are, the middle of the month. Now, all the old timers always say, plant your potatoes at Valentine's Day, which is when? Today. But I always plant my seed potatoes at the end of February, and for years they have done extremely well.
All right.
And the reason is you don't know what kind of weather. We got 2 more weeks.
I mean, it's just been all over the place here lately.
Yeah, we can get some stupid weather. So I like to plant mine at the end of February. Another thing too, the moisture starts leaving the ground a little bit more, so have as much problem with them rotting in the ground if I plant them a little later. So we'll get them cut up probably today or tomorrow, let them sit for a week or two, and then we'll plant them toward the end of February. I have planted them in 1st of March before, and they did fine. So.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's what we're doing in the greenhouse. You know, plant something unusual, plant something a little different.
Try something out.
Yeah, try something different. Just like sun sugar. Have you ever grown sun sugar before?
I've never grown sun sugar before.
You're gonna be amazed.
But I'm sure I'll grow it many times after this.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you for joining us. We love working in the greenhouse. Find you something unusual. Make gardening fun. We'll see you next time.